Hello everyone, my name is Yoshi Weinberg. I use they them pronouns. I'm the artistic director of Infrasound, and today we're very excited to be interviewing our special guest, Susan Botti. Hi Susan,
Hi,
welcome.
Yoshi. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the piece that you're writing for Infrasound.
Well, I'm a composer and a singer and great fan of infrasound. From way before the infrasound, I knew some of you through the program at Manhattan School of Music where I teach. And my pronouns are she, her, and I am just thrilled to be having my music performed by y'all. I'm a composer, as I said, with a pretty eclectic background, and I try to bring all of that variety of sound and experience into my music.
So let's talk about the piece you wrote for Infrasound. It's called Iconic.
Iconic.
And I want to know, where did the name for this piece come from, and kind of the background inspirations? What were you thinking of when this commission came about?
There were a couple of things that led to this. One was a Ishiguro book, Clara and the Sun. And there's an image in that book, I don't want to spoil it. There's an image at the end of the book that really stuck with me. It's a really beautiful, beautiful book. And I also, this is pre-Barbie, because then Barbie came out and I was like, where I was thinking about, toys and how, or superheroes. And we have these superheroes, and then there are all these plastic superheroes that then get tossed. Mm-hmm. And I find that very ironic. Mm-hmm. And so I was thinking that image was in my mind, and I'm a bit obsessively disturbed by our wasteful world and plastics and recycling and all these things. And so there are these images, or there are these actual things, these huge islands of garbage that live in our oceans and that are accumulating. And I don't know whether I was seeing that and dreaming Ishiguro. Anyway, I had this image of this huge mountain of discarded things from our world, and then sticking out of it are these superheroes and iconic figures. And so I started thinking about that, and I've also a great fan of Greek mythology and different stories, and so I was thinking about, I think those stories and legends are so helpful and enlightening, and thinking about the idea of a couple of these characters coming to life. Sometimes you just go and then things coalesce and they find their way together, and so somehow out of all of these characters and heroes and mythological figures, Leander and Medusa emerge. And then I realized that they are actually bonded through Neptune. Mm-hmm. And they both have this, Leander particularly defies his society, defies the odds. He was a young man who fell in love with this young woman who was not supposed to, she was one of Venus's young women, wasn't supposed to stay up in her tower, and yet they met each other and they fell in love, and she would put a lamp in her window and he would swim across the water, and so sort of a preliminary Romeo and Juliet. The nurse would let him in, and so this went on, and then one time the lamp failed, and Neptune takes him. So he has the hubris to defy what he was supposed to do, and this idea of being godlike, which is of course the tension. And then Medusa, as I'm sort of going on, always a fascinating character, and I really did not know the backstory, which of course then I learned the backstory, which is amazing in that she was just beautiful. That's all she did that was wrong, which is of course a wonderful topic in our society. And so, yeah, so these two characters, and of course Neptune takes Medusa against her will, and so they have this conflict with the sea.
We don't want to call it an opera, but we also don't call it like just a chamber work.
Right.
So where does this piece kind of fall, if you could categorize it, or if it shouldn't be categorized? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the word opera to me conjures up certain expectations. This is chamber, so you could call it a chamber opera, and yet I don't feel that it is really falling into a lot of that tradition, if there is a tradition. I think music-theater is a term that seems to work well for me, or I say chamber theater.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about, well, she's doing this, she's conjuring the snakes, and that's music, and that's this action. And so, there's a connection between what's happening theatrically, whether it's in the character's mind or it's in the actualization of the staging.
So tell us a little bit about this instrumentation specifically. So you knew you were writing for Luke and Amber as the two vocalists,
Yes. And Yoshi.
And me, but also I kind of gave you a guideline for what the instruments we had available.
Right.
Do you like having that kind of, I guess it might be a limitation or a expectation you're writing for these specific performers, or did that allow you to kind of really dig into the music and make it easier to write?
I love writing for people that I know. So I'm writing for Sam, who plays the bass. I mean, I know, and JC. I mean, I know them. I feel like when I'm sitting in their seat and imagining them playing, it brings out ideas to me that are reflected through the person, I think, and they're amazing creative artistry. Some of the players are new to me, but I've seen them perform. So the elegance of your violinist, just a lot of different qualities in their playing. I think about. I love the bass clarinet. I don't know. I think this is probably the 4th or 5th of my chamber theatrical works, and I love this kind of eclectic little mix of instruments. For the piano, again, going with this idea of, for lack of a better word, trash. And I go every week to my recycling center, and the guys watch me because I wander over. I'm just finding some amazing things to turn into instruments. But one of the things that I found is a baby piano, a toy piano. So that's been incorporated. Different things like that are lying around.
Yeah.
I have been bringing in.
And the percussion you're using, a lot of that is kind of found percussion / sounds that...
Yeah, nothing too sophisticated, I think. It's a drum set, really.
Right. There's
It's
no timpani.
No mallets. That's sort of a practical thing too. We're doing this in beautiful St. Malachy's, and I wanted it to have this sense that we could just bring things in, same with the design. It's kind of got this.
On the road.
I call it my sort of clown car productions, where everything can go into this little car
the van and go.
It pops out. Yeah.
So overall, let's talk about what we want the audience to take from this piece, and maybe the feelings that they might come to feel during the work in the performance and then afterwards. Is there a moral to the story?
Is there a moral to the story? I think it's just about, the word compassion comes to mind, a sense of seeing the behind this icon, or behind what this person is and dreams. And so in a way they're innocent just because they dreamed. They were sacrificed in a way. And it's about freedom of self and also a bit of perspective, that we are temporal, we are here,
and we're wasteful as humans.
we're wasteful, yeah, and we are, it's all gonna, this is a story that's being told again. So there's a sense of, I'm not sure about the time of it. I'm not trying to send people back to. And in fact, the way I presented the characters to myself was just, they could be the characters, or they could just imagine they're the characters. I mean, but there's a lot of emotion in what they're expressing, and I think there's also a fairly big dose of humor, which I really enjoyed. And again, I knew who I was writing for. Y'all do infra pop, and you do a lot of different types of music and expression, and I didn't want to create something that didn't speak to all of your skills in a way, or that I enjoy those, so I wanted to enjoy them with you, I think.
Great. Well, Susan, we're so excited to be premiering your piece.
I'm beyond thrilled. And
you can hear it April 25th, 26th at 8 p.m. and the 27th at 3 p.m. at St. Malachi's Theater, the Actors Chapel. So come by. Tickets are on sale now. Thank you again, Susan. We're so excited for this piece.
Come hear this wonderful ensemble.
Come here, iconic.
Come home, be iconic.
Goodbye. How do you say goodbye? Brilliant.
Oh, I hope so.